Welcome to the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast. You are now part of a small underground movement of dent technicians from all over the world. We are on a mission to change our industry with innovation, intelligence, and skill. But because we don't rely on an insurance company to steer customers our way, we need to do things different. We need to do things smarter. We do that through a network of technicians that we call the Tactical Tech Movement. Now let's get this revolution started.
Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hiley here with Angela Hiley, the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast.
Hey!
How you guys out there doing this wonderful evening or morning? Because we are launching this podcast on Thursday evening, a better late than never show. So things have been...
I like it when we do it this way.
Yeah, I can't remember what happened last night. I had a phone call with a very important individual, and that kind of took up a lot of my time last night, which made us both quite exhausted. And
I wasn't feeling so great.
Yeah, so we ended up pushing the podcast till this evening. But yo, bitches, it's Thursday, and we're doing the podcast, so...
Yo, bitches!
What?
Oh my God. You so Malibu's most wanted.
You call me your bitch.
No, I do not.
You have. You've done that in the past.
No, I say don't be a bitch.
Oh, okay.
I meant like don't be a whiny...
So here in a little while, we're going to be talking about a book that the wifey recently read. She's listening to. I always say that I read books too, but usually I just listen to the audio of them, which to me is more entertaining. If I try to fucking read, I fall asleep. It's like
I like it because like when you listen to it, you can really just sit there and be like in the awe and really let your imagination like flow with the book.
You know, this is something I encourage dent technicians, especially if you're past that phase where you got to use all of your mind power to fix a dent. If you're past that phase and you're like some of us that are kind of doing the dent removal on autopilot, like, you know, I'll give you an example. It's just very rare that I get to a point, unless I'm in the beginning stages of unlocking something that could go bad on me, then I got to use a lot of focus on it. But after that, once it's to the point to where I know it's fixable, I really don't have to focus on doing that job at all. In fact, I can listen to audiobooks. I can talk on the phone. I mean, I had a whole conversation with Trey Scott yesterday while I was fixing a quarter panel and then glue pulling a rail. Mm-hmm. And without a problem at all, tapping, laying the phone on the car, talking to them. It's one of the cool things about this industry. Like once you get to, like I said, over that initial hump where you got that massive learning curve, you can actually kind of set your brain on autopilot and then gel out. I just recommend any of you guys, especially you guys that are driving too, you couple that time with the time that you're, gelling out while you're fixing a dent. And you actually use that time to not only be educated, like let's say social media or search engine optimization or, motivational books. If you, do this kind of stuff, you'll continuously, you'll just become sharper every day. You'll just become just a little bit sharper.
Yeah, I agree.
And I know we're talking to a lot of the sharpest knives in the butcher block here because you are listening to this podcast. And if you've made it through all my mind fuckery...
I honestly feel like an audiobook is so much more enjoyable to listen to than scrolling down and on, like, Facebook. It really is.
When I scroll on Facebook, if I actually scroll... Normally, I just scroll the Tactical Dent Tech group, or I got a couple other groups. We got a group for our mastermind, and then we got an inner circle group for people that own websites and have been to the Mega Media event. Now, I will scroll on there because I'm trying to get caught up with what everybody's posting and doing.
Yeah.
But I know what you're talking about. Like, when I actually scroll on a news feed, I can literally feel energy being purged out of me.
To me, it just doesn't give me, like, a joyful feeling anymore. And that is something that I don't want to feel that way.
It feels kind of like brain dead space.
It does, and it's like these audiobooks, because the audiobooks that I've been listening to are a lot. They're not books that John has recommended me to listen to, or we're not listening to them together. I'm listening to them on my own. So it's like I'm picking them out. It's the interest that I'm wanting to listen to.
Yeah, and I told her the other day that, I mean, it's been a while since she had listened to any audiobooks, I think. And I just told her, I'm like, you should be doing that because I think it'd make you happier day to day.
No, but you said something like really
I said
really
that you need to be
nice.
taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And I mean,
That was really sweet.
yeah. And in a sense, that's kind of what it boils down to, though, especially when you're listening to, anything that's bringing you that next level of knowledge or anything that's motivating you or where you're learning things about yourself, becoming more self-aware, because I didn't realize in the past, I mean, I think a lot of us spend a portion of our life in a dumb stupor. And I'm hoping that everybody listening is out of that dumb stupor, but I'm thinking there may be a few that are still in that coma state.
Yeah.
Where they're not 100%. We actually call this in like Indian religions, and is the opening of the third eye, and that basically means the mind's eye, meaning that you are becoming aware to see one little like notch deeper into becoming that much more self-aware.
Yeah.
So not only understanding like why you're doing something, because most of the time you're not understanding why you're doing something, but also the intention behind your day, but then also understanding how and stopping and understanding how things make you feel while you do them.
Yeah.
Meaning that you begin to start having a conversation with like an energy pool that's inside of yourself. Meaning that, like I said, again, when I scroll down Facebook, I felt energy leaving. Now, if I felt like it was bringing me energy and like it was sparking my day and setting me on fire, if I could scroll down Facebook, and who knows, maybe for one of you guys that does that.
Yeah.
I doubt it, but maybe for one of you guys it does that out there where you scroll and you look at stuff and it fires you up and you take off and it inspires you and does all these things, right? But it was doing the exact opposite to me. It was kind of like, felt like, I think the reason like when you lose energy is it's like dumbing you down. You're looking down and you're going, oh, somebody's cat ate a potato chip. Oh, it's funny. Oh, well, look at that funny photo. Oh, it's another meme from da-da-da,
Yeah.
And you're going through and it's just, it's not adding any value to your life at that moment.
Yeah.
So because you're doing something that's continuously devaluing, you feel energy leaving rather than energy coming in.
Yeah.
I
mean, I do see some good stuff on Facebook. I always like it when people are posting photos of their anniversary or something amazing has happened, with one of their kids and they're wanting to share
that's that good old culture, suburban America right here.
Yeah, they're wanting to share that milestone,
Woo!
And that always puts a smile on my face. I like seeing stuff like that, or somebody will share some type of quote and it's like, make you giggle and whatnot, so.
Yeah.
But then there's just a bunch of bullshit on there too. I'm just like, ugh, leave with all that shit.
I always enjoy watching people do beer bongs through their buttholes.
Do people really do that?
I don't think so. Wait, actually, I do think that is a possibility.
Well, you can get one of those things where they stick something up your rear end and you go, it's a colon cleansing or a cleansing thing or something like that. They stick something up there, or there's water shooting up in there and it like flushes, like if you, they always say that it's
I'm
good.
just going to say it. That's a gay dude thing.
No, it's not. No. They say that it's good, like if after you had surgery from the anesthesia, like sometimes you'll be backed up. Like you'll have a hard time like pooping and
okay,
stuff
I understand
like that.
Medical reason.
Yeah, so like you can go and get one of these done.
That's like taking one for the team, like you and your intestines.
No, it don't hurt. It's actually something that you feel like.
It feels good?
Well, I mean, you feel it coming out of you, but then afterwards when it's done, you feel really good.
I wonder if that's why them Europeans got them toilets that shoot water up your ass.
No, that's a bidet.
Yeah.
No, that's just to clean. That's just to like refresh your areas down there.
Huh. I wonder if they like get a brand new towel every time, because I know they wipe off with a towel.
They
but
do.
like, am I wiping my nuts on a towel that somebody else is wiping their nuts on? I understand. There's that spot like right there in between your balls and the other area. And I mean,
But women don't have that.
That needs to be freshened up occasionally.
Well, I don't think think that you would use toilet paper. Maybe it's like a thicker. It's like a piece of.
I'll tell you guys a trick. Gojo hand cleaner. Slap a little on there. Spray it off with a hose.
That stuff doesn't smell good. That stuff stinks, doesn't it?
It's long lasting.
I don't know about that.
Oh, how did we go so south on this? This really went down a rough rabbit hole.
Women can't do that because our areas are very, like, gentle.
Speaking of the next news, I am considering getting a golf cart.
Hey, why don't you tell everybody what you got an early birthday present from me?
You know, guys and gals out there, this is very interesting because normally I wouldn't want a gift like this. But I'm going to take a step back. We went into the Bed Bath & Beyond about a week ago. And she goes in there because there was a company that was stalking her with Facebook ads.
It was Bed Bath & Beyond was stalking me.
Bed Bath & Beyond was stalking, but with a specific product.
Yeah.
And,
on Instagram.
So I really didn't know what we were going in there for.
Yeah.
But when we went back there, I seen this glorious looking bed that was padded down in this stuff that feels as smooth as silk but almost looks like animal hair.
Yeah.
And as we get closer, I notice it's got the fucking brand tag on it that I know is going to cost a lot of money. And what it is, the company who makes the UGG boots got into making UGG bedspread stuff.
Yeah, and like throws and pillows and all that wonderful stuff.
I've always been a secondhand blanket kind of guy. It's like I always end up with that blanket everybody else used and then gives me.
That is true.
You know?
You're always getting the hand-me-downs.
all of these years, and she went and bought herself one of these fancy UGG blankets, you know. And occasionally I reach over there and touch it or, you know, whatever.
And you really liked it.
And today I come home to my own. It looks like I'm literally like, if you guys have actually watched, okay, it's not Lord of the Rings, but what was that with Jon Snow?
Game of Thrones.
The Game of Thrones. If any of you guys have watched Game of Thrones, and you remember that comfortable looking fucking thing Jon Snow wore on his back like he killed an animal?
Yeah.
It was made of like mink and fur and all this kind of shit, and was rolling around like a pimp daddy with that cape on, you know? Had a dragon lady on his balls, swinging on his balls and rolling around there, killing people and shit with this fucking badass. Looked like a cape that you could just... That is what this thing looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like something out of like a Viking movie or something like that.
Yeah.
Like you're literally pillaging across the sea, and you've got this thing wrapped around your head and cloaked over your head as you're moving into new land.
Yeah.
I was even telling the Mac guy about it today. And the weirdest thing, she bought it for me today, didn't know about it. Me and the Mac guy was talking about this. And even he agreed that it'd be like sleeping on heaven's clouds.
And then you come home from the shop, and there's this...
And it magically appeared right there in front of me.
Yeah. And a nice pretty box with a big white bow wrapped around it. And that was your...
I'll tell you guys, go ahead and spring for it. I mean, you know, look, you spend like half your fucking, well, at least a third of your life sleeping.
Yeah.
So, you know, you might as well do it right.
Yeah.
And come on, we dent guys. Fucking ballers.
Yeah.
Shot callers. 20-inch, I forget the rest of the song.
20-inch blades on the Impala.
Yeah.
Holla,
on the dually.
Tonight.
How can we rhyme that with the dually? 20-inch blades.
No, you got...
On the dually.
Ain't they bigger than 20 inches?
No, my dually rims are 20s, but they got big-ass fucking tires on them. Because I don't like the big rims, the skinny, like, chunky tires. I want some tire on that thing.
What size are on the Wrangler?
They're 20s.
20s?
With 35s.
Okay.
Yeah, my truck's the same way. It's got 35s on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I can't stand that when somebody puts, like, you know, real big rims on their truck and it has skinny tires.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
Unless y'all listen to this podcast, then you cool. Oh, that's funny. So, but this evening. Wait, was there something else? Oh, shit. I forgot to tell them the most important thing that happened this week.
Not your
Dropped
toe?
a fucking piece of slat wall on my foot.
I had to nurse him back to hell.
I was literally, guys, I was pulling a piece of slat wall off a shelf. It hit the edge of my cart. And I don't know if you guys have ever lifted slat wall before, but that shit weighs a fucking awkward a 4x8 sheet, an awkward 100 pounds, probably. And the fucking thing, I went to go stick it on the cart. It hit the cart, missed the cart. The cart rolled away from me. And then as I was shifting, the thing comes down and just falls directly on my foot. So, seen stars, stopped, was in Menards. Nobody's seen it, right?
I thought it was like the smaller pieces that you showed me. I didn't realize it was like them ginormous pieces that you
It's the biggest piece of slat
Yeah.
wall you could possibly imagine. So anyhow, I'm like, okay, well, whatever. You know, I don't think my foot's broke. I'm having a hard time walking on it. But I look at the slat wall, and I got one on my cart and one that was still need to get down. I'm like, I'm going to call Associate because I ain't leaving here without that fucking slat wall. And so they came, they get it, they helped me load it up into the truck. I'm driving home, and all I hear, like, I literally, like, my foot hurts so bad, like, my ears are ringing. And I get back to the shop. I end up sitting there. I kind of like, I feel like my foot's sweating. Well, I pull it off. My sock's drenched in blood. You know, I'm not going to go into any further details, but she came. I couldn't really get up and leave. She came, wrapped me up. I'm on tonight's Thursday. So pretty much like day 3 of the recovery.
Yeah.
And finally the swellings went down. My whole foot was swelled up. And now I'm still walking around in sandals, so like literally wearing slip-on sandals.
Yeah, they're a pair of sandals, a pair of old Jordan sandals where they Velcro, so it's really easy for John, you know, to be able to like, you know, adjust it to the width that, you know, he needs. But I don't know, like when I seen it, like it was bad, you know what I'm saying? But I guess like it didn't bother me. Like the only thing was I just didn't want to hurt you. But I knew how to wrap that
thing
up.
Hurt day 1 when it was being wrapped. Like any movement of any toe, like trying to like wrap it was like ah. Now it's cool.
Yeah, John will lose. I'm getting ready to call you Jonathan, but John will lose the big toe. That one will fall off.
The big toenail. The big toe.
Not your toe, not your toe, just the toenail. But then the second one, that one's kind of iffy.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose my big toe, so just start calling me 9.5.
His pointer toe, I think that toenail might be okay. But I told him, I'm like, man, when you lose that toenail, it's gonna take a while for that thing to grow back. It's gonna take like 6 months for that.
And I apologize for all y'all listening to this in the morning, eating your Chick-fil-A biscuit, because damn, them are delicious. If y'all haven't tried the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit, try it. It is delicious. If you're calorie counting, be careful.
But what did you say?
Eat like half of one.
You told me that I was like really good at like wrapping your toe up.
She is. I mean, she wraps it up like nothing else, you know.
Clean that thing out like it ain't nothing.
Yeah, my toe looks like a bald guy wearing a bandana. You know?
But it's all good though. You're gonna be fine. Hey, listen, that happened. At least you didn't break your foot.
So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about one of the books that you've been reading, and this.
No, I already
book,
read it. I finished it today. And I'm on my second book.
So let's talk a little bit about it. It's called, you know, because I was listening to you earlier talk about some of the learning lessons, and in all honesty, like they really apply to anybody. It's not just about
Girl, go wash your face.
Yeah, it's called Girl, Go Wash Your Face. For all you guys out there,
face.
listen, I'm going to be like this, be like, yo, motherfucking dude, go wash your fucking face.
Go wash your face. Girl, go wash your face. And it's by Rachel. Last name starts with an H, and I just don't know.
Asha Bigham.
It's not. No, it's an actually easy last name to pronounce, but I don't have it in front of me, so I don't want to butcher her last name.
Yeah. All right, well, tell us a little bit about what does go wash your face mean? Like, you know, what does that mean? I mean, I like to wash my face, but like, what exactly?
No, it basically, like what she was saying today at the end.
We're gonna call this
book.
dude go wash your balls.
No, because what it is like, John, that's not. Everybody's gonna be laughing at that. That's not nice.
Go wash your balls.
No.
Or that
come
little
on.
spot I was talking about underneath of them.
Isn't that called your gooch or something?
Gucci.
John, I was trying to be serious, and you had to like ruin it and make it into something funny.
I mean, I just want them to have an analogy they understand.
Not go
Because
wash your
dudes,
balls.
like women love to wash their face. Dudes love to wash their balls.
No, we don't like to wash our face.
Yeah, why are you always like, I gotta go wash my face?
Because I gotta wash the makeup off.
See?
And I gotta put my anti-aging stuff on my face.
We gotta wash the sweat off our balls.
That's two different things, John Hiley.
All right, let's go.
What do you think it means?
What do I think washing your balls means? Sometimes, like, you feel nasty, you know? And it's like
God,
everything is like
horrible.
sticky, and you could walk, like, literally, you could be drenched with sweat and then have clean balls, and your whole body feels clean.
That's like for a girl if she washes her face.
Ah, see? I knew I was onto something.
You really feel that way? then?
Score for the dudes.
No, girl, go wash your face basically means that, like, if you're a hot mess and you're crying and you're having this moment to where you think everything's getting ready to go to shit, basically you go wash your face, you put yourself together, and you go out there and you accomplish your goal.
I get that. I hear that a lot, to be honest with you, like, because, you know, you guys know that I talk to a lot of guys, and it's so funny. It's like
You can't have no pity party. You can't sit there and feel sorry for you. Like, one thing that I really learned with this book is that, you know, she talks about, like, traumatic events that go on in your life. And, like, that girl, she went through some very shitty things in her life. And she went through a lot of years of, like, therapy. But she didn't let that, how do I want to say it? Like, she didn't let that make her into a shitty person.
Or, like, ruin her life.
Exactly. She basically took this traumatic event that had happened into her life, and she used it, and she shared her story. And what are you doing?
I was looking up a quote because I put a quote up today that was, like, matched exactly what you're saying.
Oh, so I'll tell you, like, what had happened. Like, in her life when she was young, her older brother was diagnosed as being borderline schizophrenic. Okay, so he was dealing with this. He was dealing with trying to find a medication that would work to where he could try and live a normal life as much as possible. And it got overbearing, and he ended up taking his own life. And she was the one that found her brother. So if you can imagine, she was young. I think, you know, she was like maybe 9, 10, maybe 13, somewhere around in there. But she had witnessed that, you know, and it tore her mom and dad apart as well. You know, they went through a nasty divorce, and she had to go through extensive amounts of therapy. But she never, like, let that destroy her as a human being. But what she realized is that any other situations that she was going through later on in her life, it wasn't, how did I want to say it? Like, it prepared her to where she was able to go through these other events, and it wasn't going to destroy her. It wasn't going to take her joy away. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, you know, and I actually just pulled a quote that I put up earlier today on my Instagram for all you loyal Instagram followers there. You may have seen this earlier. For you guys who are not following me on Instagram, well, you didn't see it. All right, so I'm done. I'm going to hide it.
Well, why don't you share it?
Only for my loyal Instagram followers.
I think I seen it. Didn't it have a lion on it?
Yes, it says, when it hurts, observe. Life is trying to teach you something.
Yeah. And there's always a silver lining, because no matter how shitty a situation may get, or no matter what you're going through, and you're thinking that there's always the light at the end of the tunnel, and there's always a silver lining, and there's always a very good learning lesson. And I think like with one of hers is that she was able to share this in her book, and even though I did not experience the same traumatic event that she went through, I was able to relate to that.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's like, how does it get any worse? You know?
Yeah.
And, so in that aspect, you immediately can begin to pay attention to her learning lessons. Because what she would talk about was something traumatic that would happen in life, and then the learning lesson that was tied into that.
Yeah.
And I always said that if you guys listen to some of the previous podcasts, one of the authors that I listen to over and over again, and specifically one book, is Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
And he talks about that any so-called failure, he actually didn't like to use the word failure. He would actually use the word temporary defeat. So any temporary defeat held a seed of equal or much greater learning value in it that would, like, if you could use it for a stepping stone to take yourself to the next level. Mm-hmm. And the truth of the matter is, the most successful people in the world were well past the line of failure.
Yeah.
When they finally succeeded. Mm-hmm. And that's just part of the game. It's a faith game. Like, do you believe in what you're doing at a level that you'll stick it through no matter what?
And she was like, this Rachel chick, like, I'm not exactly sure what type of online business that she owns, but it's a multi-million-dollar business that she started,
Yeah, she owns like a multi-million-dollar media company of some sort, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, that's great stuff to learn from.
Yes, it is.
You obviously want to learn from somebody who's doing it,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else about the book?
Oh, let me think here. She talks about being your own hero.
Yeah.
Not of, how do I want to say it? Like, I guess finding that voice within yourself that...
The same voice we've been talking about in the last couple podcasts?
Yeah. Like, I get what she was talking about. Like, not having some guy that's going to come in and, like, save the day and rescue you and take all of your problems and your worries away. Because, like, I think, like, sometimes in life, I mean, it's awesome to have a good support system and whatnot, but, like, if shit ever goes down, you're going to have to rely on yourself. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing with the Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's his entire central message was basically called that, self-reliance.
Yeah.
And that was the Transcendentalist movement, and he was a Harvard guy back in the day, like the late 1800s, early 1900s, and he just spoke of that, like in our community, in our world, everything from the school that we go to, through the colleges that people go through, all of that stuff is designed to conform people into a certain type of individual.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people will actually go through high school, go through college, go get a job somewhere in corporate America and work there their entire life to find out, the entire time they hated every aspect of everything that they ever did. But they did it only because other people expected them to do it. Mm-hmm. They just followed, just like they're sheep. I mean, that's the truth. It's a sheep mentality. They're being herded by the system we've created around. I mean, here's what people got to realize. Public schools and education, specifically public schools, was not created to make you succeed or find the best, or to dig the best out of you. It was created so you didn't end up in a gutter and fail, right? So it was like a fail safe, meaning that, okay, if you just got this basic level of education at least, you can go take money at McDonald's or
and
drop some fries,
like
right?
with public school though, they have they only have like one certain way of like teaching everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe we might have talked about that like previously, like in a previous podcast.
Yeah, it's not designed to seek out your talents.
No, it's not, because like so many kids, they learn differently, compared to what the teachers are required to, whatever they're teaching, their way of teaching. Like I look at Jonathan, so like Jonathan was he got an IEP, and I know probably maybe some people will know what an IEP is and other people probably won't know what an IEP is, but Jonathan, when he was in grade school, he would try his hardest, but what his thing was is that he had a hard time comprehending stuff, right? Anything that came with reading, or if somebody was teaching him something, he didn't get it like right off of the bat. Well, his grades started falling behind, and they go, well, we want to do some testing, because what this testing is going to do, it's going to give him an IEP, and basically the state will recognize that he learns a different way compared to the other students. Now, when a student gets an IEP, it's basically the state saying that they have some type of learning disability. So Jonathan's learning disability had a lot to do with comprehending stuff.
Yeah.
Now, he's carried that IEP with him throughout grade school, middle school, and high school. Does that make him any less of an individual? No. But there's some benefits that I feel are awesome with when a child or the state says that they have an IEP. That since they learn a different way compared to these, the other students, there's all these opportunities once they graduate high school. Like there are so many scholarships that are available for Jonathan. There's all these wonderful other programs that he will be able to do if he chooses to do that, So like, I think one of the things, because like when Jonathan was younger and, I tried to explain this to him, he was always like, is there something wrong with me? Like, is there something wrong with me, Mom? And I'm like, no, there's nothing wrong with you at all. I'm like, what it is I was like, you just learn totally different than the average. I don't want to say average, but what would you call, like, he just learns differently compared to the majority of students, or the way that the state tells the teachers that this is the way that you need to be teaching.
Well, I mean, you got to think Albert Einstein was the exact same way. And I mean, he talked a lot about if you judge a fish its entire life by how well it'll climb a tree, the fish will live its entire life thinking that it's stupid because it can't climb a tree. And he talked about that specifically. Albert Einstein talked about that specifically about his situation.
Yeah. Because
he thought different, and the way he gathered intelligence and information was a totally different way than your conventional way. He was actually diagnosed with something at that time. So, that being said, I guess we go all the way back to the beginning of where I was going with this. And the beginning of where I was going with this is that traditional education is designed to herd you into what they think you should be, or what they think a good tax-paying citizen looks like at the end of the day. It's not designed to bring out the highest level of who you are, and it's definitely not designed or encouraged to begin having that conversation with yourself where you begin to create that self-reliance, and you're able to actually identify the way you really feel.
Yeah.
Meaning that traditional education separates people from the way they feel versus the way society thinks they should feel, or thinks they should act, or thinks they should be. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, it makes the majority of the fucking world miserable.
Yes.
I mean, I can't even tell you how many, the only people that I know that are truly on fire and truly living life are the people that I'm around that are doing something they're passionate about. You know, the entrepreneurs that I'm around. We were just talking about Wasfi, and some of you guys listen to our podcast. That dude's on fire. He's passionate about what he's doing. I'm flying. My business coach is coming in tomorrow for an all-day session with me. So we're doing a 9 a.m. to like midnight session, just strategy planning and stuff like that. He's on fire. He's passionate. He's living life, man. You know, he's in his place. He understood at some point, and I'll tell you guys a little story as well. Wasfi was an accountant. Could you imagine Wasfi being an accountant?
No.
Miserable he was. He's talked about this on the podcast. Miserable he was. If you guys don't know Wasfi, he spoke at my event. He owns a big place down here called JD Legends, where they have concerts. We met Aaron Lewis there, and they have all kinds of country singers and stuff like that. So, and he's doing this other thing, a bunch of other big venues, and we're actually taking John to his first concert. Aaron Lewis is going to be right here in Dayton, and Wasfi's hooking it up and getting us a table and all that kind of stuff. But one step back to exactly where I was going, like, he understands who he is. He understands himself. Now, are you going to be 100% on that? Not all the time, but I'm telling you, if you're like 80%, you're literally doing way better than most of the fucking mindless herd that's out there. I see it day in and day out. And when I had Tom Ziegler on PDR Tooltime podcast, so I don't know if many of you guys watched that or listened to that episode, but we literally had Tom Ziegler, Zig Ziglar's son. A friend of mine was his head training coach at his facility out in Dallas, Texas. And he connected me with Tom, so Zig's son, and Tom came on the podcast with us. And he called that, Tom actually, at the time when we were talking, he called that he was on a zombie hunt. So he considered what he was doing, his mission in life, and this was something like from his father. Anybody knows Zig Ziglar? Best salesman in the world, one of the best speakers in the world, best sales books you're ever going to read in the world from Zig Ziglar, flat out. And he passed away, but Tom took over the entire empire, and Tom is fucking amazing. Tom is a clear speaking. He is he's very, very good at what he does. And he called it actually going out zombie hunting, waking people up from their zombie nightmare. And instead of having them follow that mindless mass, begin tapping into their inner, their personal, their inside, who they are inside, connecting with that and walking a path in life that's congruent with who they are, with what they believe, and with what they love.
I like that.
Yeah. Waking up zombies.
Wouldn't that be nice if something like that was actually taught in school?
Yeah, it would. But it's not going to be because I don't know, man. I just don't, to me, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I don't believe the government digs that. They want predictability, They want predictability. They want you to, whatever. For whatever reason, they want you to go to graduate from high school, go to college, get your college degree, be a shit ton in debt, go to work where you're going to get a weekly check and the taxes are going to be taken out, and just kind of follow this path that they've kind of laid in front for the majority. But I don't know. I think that if you're listening to this podcast, to be honest with you, that you're stepping out of the majority, because especially if you follow me through, several of these last, 50 episodes on this podcast, if you follow us through like 50 episodes, I would imagine episode by episode, you're getting deeper in touch with, who you are. You're on the same journey, per se, is that I'm on and that we're on, that you're on that journey, and you want happiness above and beyond, greed and pain and, all of these things that people bring onto themselves, they bring into their life. Mm-hmm. You don't want to have to worry about failure, knowing that it's just a stepping stone to your next success. You don't want to have the traditional fears that people are just they are overcame with fears of what other fucking people think about them. There's fears of poverty. There's so many fears that hold people back. And when you're traumatized by them fears, or when them fears like come up in your life at any given moment, if you fall into that fear, you're being paralyzed at that moment. They talk about that. There's a chemical that runs through your body when you're scared that makes you freeze. Okay? It's the same chemical that runs through your body when when you almost get hit by a car or something like that and you stop before you walk out into the road. It's that same fear that makes you go hide when a saber-toothed tiger is walking down a trail. You know what I mean? Whatever. You hide and freeze, right? I mean, it's literally proven. Like,
are you talking about like that? Like when you're driving down the road and then there's that squirrel,
yeah,
and it's like crossing the street, and then all of a sudden it freezes, and you're like,
well,
get out of the way, or you're gonna get hit.
The squirrel is freezing because a chemical is going through its body where it just doesn't know what to do. It stops. That's a great. Don't
like them squirrels. Like all of a sudden it's like I
don't know what I'm going to right. Do you want to go left? Do you want to go right and left? Right or left?
Yeah, and it just gives this look like it's crazy look in its eyes, and
then next thing you know, you got a Michelin on top of your head. Right? Let that be a learning lesson. But it all goes back to I talked about this on one of the other podcasts, like a primal thing.
Yeah.
Like literally when people always talk about fight or flight, okay? But I'm here to tell you that more lives have been saved by freezing or trying to blend into the environment by freezing, okay?
Yeah.
And because, if a dinosaur came up to you or a saber-toothed tiger, if you fight it, you're going to get killed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just bottom line. It's going to kill you. If you run, it's going to run way faster than you, right? So flight doesn't work because of the traditional, everybody's seen the lion attack the gazelle. It's the trip the back foot, and when its face hits the ground, bite the back of its neck technique. Okay? So, all right. So what do people do? They've in the past, they've frozen. They've played dead, right?
Yeah.
Playing dead. And they even say in school shootings, and I hate to bring up something so negative, but in school shootings, more people have been saved by falling to the ground and acting like they've been hit and playing dead than by running, or fighting the person that has a gun. I mean, ultimately, your best bet is if you're in a shooter situation where you start seeing guns popping off everywhere, is to fall to the ground and act like you've been hit and you're dying.
Yeah.
So, dun dun dun. So that being said, I think we had a good conversation tonight.
Yeah, I think we did. There was something I was going to say, but then when you brought that up,
you got to free your mind, Craig. Free your mind. It's Friday. You ain't got shit to do. You ain't got no job.
Oh, why can't they come out with another Friday and bring back Chris Tucker? Like, seriously, why can't he just come back and they just do another one?
I like Big Worm.
I know you would like
Big Perm.
Yeah, that's that's so crazy because when you watch that movie and then you watch Couples Retreat, that's the same dude that's in Couples Retreat. I'm like, oh my god, that's fucking Big Worm right there.
Right? I know.
And if you haven't watched Couples Retreat, you need to watch it because it's one of the best movies with Vince Vaughn in it.
Yeah. Hey, and just a heads up, guys, I want to let y'all know that we just got a big announcement today of a huge prize that's going to be given away in the Black Friday Cyber Monday event.
Yeah, John told me about it.
So
that's really nice.
It's really awesome. Nice. We're going to be announcing all of that stuff soon.
Yeah, that was.
So we're getting there. It's 2 weeks away.
I don't know. When people give away stuff, do you know what I'm saying? When they're like, yeah I want to give away this. I don't know. That just I don't know. Makes me all warm and gooey inside.
It's getting to the point now where I'm getting phone calls from the tool companies wanting to add things to this event.
Yeah.
And I think what it is, they all seen the promotional value that we've given for the last couple of years. And the truth of the matter is they want to become a contributor to that community. To get the, to just to be part of it. I mean, anytime as a tool company owner or as a business owner, anytime you get a chance to put a product in front of everybody and just make it the highlight and just literally just create all kinds of energy around it.
Yeah.
You're going to do really well. And we've seen that. I mean, some of our big contributors over the last years have just killed it over the Black Friday, Cyber Monday event.
Yeah.
Of course, they got me coaching them because they come to me and they try to do something like a 5% offer or something like that. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to be honest with you, man. This is Black Friday, Cyber Monday. If you really want to sell that shit, let's get a deal going for these guys.
Yeah, like one hell of a deal.
And I do that, man. I push for y'all that are looking for this weekend, and I know many of you guys are, and looking for this weekend to restock on whatever it is. I really push that badass deal on these tools. And I let them know because, I mean, you know, I'm like, dude, you guys need to think about making it up in volume. You got to think about making it up, selling a bunch of them at once, and, you know, making up your profits on the end of on that end of things.
I know.
And it just works out good for everybody. So we're all hyped up about this event coming up, and there's going to be some things happening during the Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Y'all just ain't going to believe. We're going to be doing some different stuff this year that is going to
I know. I seen this one
blow
dress
it up.
in Walmart. It was like this.
I ain't wearing no fucking dress.
It was this Christmas dress thing. I was like, John. I was like, look. I was like, that will fit you. I was like, need to get one. I should just go and buy one and then be like, pressure you into wearing that thing because everybody's
here.
Gonna
I am.
see
Here
you.
I am going. I ain't gonna wear no dress, and then I'm like, well, as I'm getting these stockings on.
No, it wouldn't be stockings. It was just this.
You saying I can't have pantyhose?
You're not gonna want to wear pantyhose. It'd be too tight in the crotchy area. But it was real glittery and
You're right, because that area
sequins.
is awful, you know, protruding. Yeah.
Oh, dear Lord. I think I'm going to go to Walmart and get that dress for you.
It ain't happening.
Everybody's going to want to see you wear it.
No, they're not. They're
Yes,
sitting
they
here. Everybody's shaking their head no right now.
No, they're shaking their head yes.
All y'all are shaking your head fucking no. Mm-mm. Don't let us see John wearing that thing.
It's a Christmas dress.
It ain't going to happen.
And it's from Walmart.
No.
Why not? You can't tell me you can't just put it on.
All right, guys.
So we can get a giggle out of it.
We are deep into this podcast.
Yes.
We're going to close it out.
You're wearing a Christmas dress.
It ain't happening.
Yes.
I might wear a Christmas tree outfit.
Will you wear that the deer outfit again? You're a lot thinner. You're not thinner because I mean you got big muscles, but you're like leaner than what you were. So I think you can fit in that deer costume a lot easier too.
What you mean? I was sexy back then. If you guys don't know, even when I was fat, I thought I was sexy. I'd take my shirt off in the mirror and get that perfect angle. Kind of puff my chest up, you know, a little bit.
Oh my God.
Move my arms where I'd hide my own love handles and look in the mirror and be like, you sexy son of a bitch. At this angle, you're the sexiest man alive, I would tell myself.
Yeah, you've got some confidence. You really do. Like, that's something I've always admired about you. I'm like, damn, I have confidence, but I don't have like John Hiley confidence. And I'm like, I really wish it's something that I admire about you. I do.
You know what though? I'm like a fat black woman. A fat black woman. Was that Chris Rock? Chris Rock talks about the confidence of a fat black woman. And he would talk about that. He'd be like, oh, she going out on Friday night and she wearing that tight outfit. And she's going to wear them, what is that? The high heel shoes with the fat coming out of them. And she ain't going to give a fuck. She going to be like, oh yeah? There's some, you see the fat over top of this pussy? Well, there's some good pussy underneath that fat. And she had the pumps on, looked like the baking bread in them. Doesn't give a fuck. So guess what, guys? I'm the fat black woman of the PDR industry. Thank you.
Oh my God. Wait a minute, what was that? That was Chris Rock. That was
That was one of his comedy skits.
I know, but which one was that? We used to watch it over.
I can't remember.
So, is it Bigger Than Black or something?
Might have been, yeah.
Something like that. It was one that we've watched over and over again.
Yeah.
That was a really good one, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I can eat a chicken wing like a fat black woman, too. Because I had a fat black lady teach me how to eat a chicken wing. Yep, I can stick it in the mouth and just, boom, spit out the bone.
No, you can stick the, I was telling Cole Fox and his wife, Michelle, that, because I don't eat chicken wings in public because I'm a messy eater and I get stuff all over my face. But John can, take the chicken wing and he can stick it in his mouth and then just pull it out, and then there's the bone. And all of the chicken, like, that is some talent right there.
I told you where I learned it. I ain't got to say it again. People don't realize, like, if you guys haven't listened to my podcast, like, I just grew up around, most of my friends when I was growing up were black people.
Yeah.
Because the neighborhood that I grew up in, I mean, there was, white and black people, but I just tend to, one whole side of my neighborhood was all my buddies, all of them were black, and I grew up around their moms, and I grew up around their aunts, and I grew up around their dads. And I mean, that was just my group of friends that I grew up with.
Yeah.
And in a little town where you got to worry about getting beat up when you walk across town, had my own little, we everybody protected each other.
Yeah.
On my side, on that side of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it was like one of them things, man. I learned all the tricks of the trade.
Yeah. I actually got to meet probably quite a few of them guys that you used to hang out with.
Yeah.
That you grew up with. Yeah.
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 They gangster too. I ain't gonna lie.
Yes, they is.
You guys know what like real gangsters are kind of like, Yeah, they're cool with me. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's a lot of them ended up in prison, in and out of prison, stuff like that, and a lot of ones that I mean, there's some that I will mess with, like that I still will deal with, and talk to, but there's some of them that are just to the point now where they got so far in and out of prison that I don't even want anything to do with them.
Yeah, they've been. What's
I'm
called?
sketched out to be around them, and I knew them growing up my whole life, but I'm still sketchy around them because you just don't know if they're gonna flip a script 1 second and just try to rob you or something.
But what's that called though? When someone's like in and out of
institutionalized.
Yeah.
So, but really the ones that got that bad are kind of far and in between. Most of them are still cool as fuck.
Yeah.
But not the type of dudes you really want to cross over or anything like that,
No.
So, anyhow, y'all, appreciate you. And we're going to bounce out of this podcast.
Yes, we are.
Is there something you want to say, young lady?
No, I don't think so.
It's all about...
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to do my outro.
All right, everybody. I'm going to see you on that next one.
And remember, it's all about the motherfucking hustle.
Bang, bang.
No, John, that one's mine. I'm not pew pew. I'm bang bang.
Pew, pew.